She never expected to feel this way. At first, she convinced herself that your absence didn't matter, that she could move on, keep living her life, and barely notice you weren't there. She thought 30 days would pass and she wouldn't even think about you. But now she's realizing something she never considered. Silence changes everything. In the beginning, it felt like a small break, a pause, a temporary space where she could breathe, explore, and do whatever she wanted. But what she wasn't prepared for was how quickly your absence started to feel permanent. She assumed you'd check in, that maybe after a week you'd cave, that eventually you'd try to re-enter her world. But as the days go by, she's starting to feel something she wasn't expecting: uncertainty. At first, she tells herself she's fine, but then the little things start happening. She checks her phone out of habit, expecting to see your name, but it's not there. She scrolls through old messages, hoping to feel the comfort of the past, but it doesn't bring the reassurance she thought it would. She posts something, hoping you'll react, but you don't. Suddenly, she starts to feel the weight of what she once ignored. Your presence was something she took for granted, but your absence now, that's something she can't escape. And the longer she sits with it, the more she starts to wonder, did I make a mistake? Because this time, you're not chasing, you're not waiting, you're not breaking the silence, and that's what's making her question everything. The unraveling begins. At first, she tries to shake it off. She tells herself she's just overthinking, that maybe she's only noticing your absence because it's different, not because it actually matters. But as the days stretch on, the weight of the silence starts pressing down on her. Before, you were predictable. She always knew that if she pulled back, you'd reach out, that if she ignored your messages, you'd double text, that if she played hard to get, you'd chase. But now, you've vanished, and that's what's making her panic. At first, it was just a passing thought, a moment of curiosity, a quick scroll through old conversations, but now it's turning into an obsession. She catches herself checking her notifications more often than usual. She scrolls through social media, half hoping she'll see something that gives her an answer. She pays closer attention to who's watching her stories, wondering if you're still lurking in the background. And every single time she looks and you're not there, it stings a little more, because now she's realizing something she never expected. You're actually okay without her, and that's something she wasn't ready for. At first, she brushes it off. She tells herself that maybe you're just busy, just trying to prove a point, just playing a game. But the longer this continues, the harder it gets for her to ignore one terrifying possibility. What if you've actually moved on? What if you're not coming back? What if she's not as special as she thought? What if she was never the one with the power? And once that thought enters her mind, it won't leave, because the moment she starts questioning her position in your life, that's the moment everything starts falling apart for her. When doubt turns into regret, she never thought she'd be the one stuck in her head over this. At first, she convinced herself that she was fine, that your silence was just a phase, that you were probably sulking, waiting for her to come back, and that at any moment you'd break and come running back to her. But now she's not so sure, because the more time that passes, the more she's realizing this isn't playing out the way she expected. You're not checking in, you're not reacting to her posts, you're not even leaving small signs that you're still watching. And that's when the fear really starts to settle in, because she was never prepared for the idea that you could actually be done. At first, she tries to distract herself. She goes out more, surrounds herself with people, fills her time with anything that keeps her from sitting in silence. She posts pictures, ones she normally wouldn't, trying to send a message without actually saying anything. She even entertains new attention, but it feels different now, because before, all of this felt effortless. She was in control. She was the one who got to decide how things played out. But now, she doesn't feel in control at all. No matter what she does, you're not reacting, and that's what's making her second guess everything. She told herself she could replace you. She told herself there would always be someone else, someone better. But now she's starting to wonder, what if she was wrong? Because she thought she was just taking a break. testing the waters, keeping her options open. But what if in doing so, she actually pushed away the one person who was different? And the second that thought enters her mind, it begins to haunt her. It changes everything. Now she's no longer just missing you. She's regretting letting you go. She assumed she had time, but now, for the first time, she's realizing time might not be on her side anymore. When she realizes time isn't on her side, that's the thought she can't escape. At first, she convinced herself this was just a waiting game, that eventually something would shift and things would go back to how they used to be. But the more she waits, the more things stay the same, and that's the real problem. Nothing is happening. She expected some kind of movement, some kind of crack in the silence, some proof that you were still affected, but there's nothing, and that's making her panic in a way she's never felt before, because now she's the one who has to make a decision. She can either keep waiting, hoping that at some point you'll reach out first, that you'll break the silence, that she'll get the validation she desperately needs, or she can take a risk. But that's where the fear really kicks in. What if it's too late? What if you've moved on? What if you're not interested anymore? What if she finally works up the courage to reach out and your response is cold, detached, indifferent? She never thought she'd be the one in this position, the one feeling uncertainty, doubt, and fear. But now she's questioning everything. She wonders if she should have played this differently. She wonders if she took things too far. She wonders if by walking away, she actually destroyed her own chances. And the more she thinks about it, the more desperate she feels. She scrolls through old conversations, trying to remember what it felt like when you still cared. She replays moments in her mind, searching for a sign that she could still have a way back in. She types a message, hesitates, deletes it, rewrites it, because now she doesn't know how to approach you anymore. Before it was easy, before she had control, before she knew exactly how you felt. But now she has no idea if she still matters to you at all. And that thought, that's what's making her break, because she expected that after a while, you'd give in, but you haven't. And now she's the one feeling like she's running out of time. When she feels the urgency to fix what's broken, she can't sit with this feeling anymore. The uncertainty, the silence, the thought that she might have actually lost you. It's too much. She needs to do something, but for the first time, she's realizing she doesn't know how. Because before it was easy, she could text you, call you, post something meant to trigger a reaction, and you'd always respond. But now, she has no guarantee that you will, and that changes everything. She starts overanalyzing every possible way to reconnect. Could she just send a casual "hey" and act like nothing happened? Should she pretend she has a reason to reach out? Something small, something neutral? Should she go all in, admit that she messed up, and risk exposing just how much she regrets everything? She doesn't know, and that's making her feel even more out of control. Because the longer she waits, the more she feels like she's losing her grip. And now, for the first time, she feels pressure. Before, she always felt like she had time. She believed she could come back whenever she wanted and you'd still be there. But now, she's seeing things differently. Now she feels like she has to act before it's too late. She starts coming up with excuses to check in. "Hey, I just saw something that reminded me of you. I hope you're doing okay. Just wanted to say hi. I just realized I never gave you back that one thing of yours." She carefully crafts messages, trying to make them seem effortless. But the truth is, none of this is effortless anymore. She's not doing this because she misses you. She's not doing this because she's just being friendly. She's not even doing this because she wants to see how you're doing. She's doing this because she needs to know, do you still care? And the worst part, she has no idea if she'll like the answer, because deep down, she knows the risk she's taking. If she reaches out and you don't give her what she's looking for, if you respond but don't sound the same, if you barely acknowledge her attempt to reconnect, she'll have to face the truth she's been running from this entire time, that maybe, just maybe, you're already gone. When she realizes she no longer has power over you, she hesitates before hitting send. Her finger lingers over the message, but something inside her is screaming at her to stop, because this time it feels different. This isn't like before, when she could reach out and expect you to be there, waiting, eager, ready to pick up where things left off. That version of you is gone, and now she has no idea how you'll respond. For the first time, she's the one feeling vulnerable. Before, she was always sure of her place in your life. She knew that even if she distanced herself, even if she played games, assuming that even if she made you wait, you would still care. But now she can't shake the feeling that you've changed while she was out exploring her options, enjoying the attention of other men, assuming you'd always be available. You are evolving into someone she no longer has control over, and that terrifies her. She starts to realize something she never expected. You weren't just some guy in her life. You weren't like the others, the ones who would endlessly chase, settle for less, or always be an option in the background. No, you were different, because you didn't just bring attention, attraction, or desire. You brought stability, depth, and presence. And now she sees the difference. The men who once seemed exciting now feel shallow. The attention she used to enjoy now feels meaningless. The power she thought she had over you now feels like an illusion. And the more she sits with it, the more she starts to regret everything. Because this silence, it's not just a test anymore, it's reality. And the scariest part, she has no idea if she can undo it. She thought she could replace you, walk away, and move on without a second thought. But now, for the first time, she's realizing she was never the one in control. And the second that truth hits her, that's when she starts to feel the kind of regret that doesn't go away. The moment she knows she can't get you back, the weight of regret starts to crush her. At first, she told herself she still had time, that if she waited long enough, if she ignored the growing panic inside her, you would eventually break the silence. But you didn't. You didn't check in, you didn't send a subtle message, you didn't give her any sign that you were still lingering in the background, waiting for her to make a decision. And that's when it hits her. This isn't a game anymore. She miscalculated everything. She thought she could turn things on her own terms, that she could take her time, enjoy her freedom, explore other options, and that no matter what, you would still be there. But now she's the one feeling powerless, because the longer this goes on, the more she realizes she's not just missing you, she's losing you. And for the first time, she doesn't know if she can fix it. She plays through different scenarios in her head. What if I just casually reach out? What if I bump into him accidentally? What if I just admit I made a mistake? But the more she thinks about it, the more her stomach sinks, because none of those options guarantee she'll get what she wants. She expected that if she ever came back, you'd be grateful to hear from her, that you'd jump at the chance to pick things back up. But now she's terrified. She knows there's a real possibility that when she reaches out, you won't care anymore. And that's a level of rejection she's never had to experience before. It's one thing to have someone chase you and then pull away when they lose interest, but to lose someone who never needed your validation to begin with, that's something she wasn't prepared for. She assumed she had the upper hand because she believed she was irreplaceable, but now she's realizing that she was only irreplaceable to the version of you who still cared, and that version of you no longer exists. That's when the panic reaches its peak. She feels the need to act, but she doesn't know how. She wants to fix things, but she's afraid it's too late. She starts typing a message, hesitates, deletes it, rewrites it, overthinking every word, wondering if she should send something casual or just admit she messed up. But deep down, she knows the truth. The real power shift happened when you stopped waiting for her, because the second you stopped chasing, she was the one who started to feel the loss. And now she's sitting with the same feeling she once made you experience, except for her, it might be permanent. She never thought she'd be the one in this position. She spent so much time believing she had control, that she was the one making the choices, that she was the one deciding when and how things would play out. But now she sees the truth. She thought she was testing you, but really, she was testing herself. She assumed she was keeping her options open, but in reality, she was walking away from the only person who ever made her feel something real. She wanted to see how far she could push you before you broke, but instead, you showed her something she never expected. You don't break, you evolve, and that's what truly scares her, because now you're no longer looking at her the same way. You're not reaching for her. You're not making it easy for her to slip back into your life. You're not reacting the way every other guy has. And that's when she realizes this isn't just a lesson, it's a loss, one she might never recover from, because no matter what she does next, she has to live with the fact that she had someone who truly saw her, valued her, and wanted her, and she let him slip away. She thought time was on her side, but now she's the one running out of time, and you're already ahead of her. If this video opened your eyes, watch the next one on your screen. The second you understand this, you'll never see relationships the same way again.